Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Diabolical Souls Presents, and we do Blue Eye Samurai review. And thank you for everyone watching. We greatly appreciate it. And as always, I have my co-host here, amateur analyst. How you doing, bud?
Good.
Yeah,
Doing well. Excited for
awesome.
today's episode.
Yeah, this is a big episode. So, and again, we have our special guest, Benzo, joining us. Welcome there, Enzo. How's it going?
Pleasure to be here. A little creeped out by your new Diabolical Souls intro video.
Yes,
What
that's
the heck
that's
is
for a
that trying
reason.
to say? One of those whispers chanting in my head. That was weird.
Yes. Oh, welcome, Michael Bancroft. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I'm really looking forward to moving forward with Diabolical Souls. I'm going to be putting out a public statement later on about everything that's going on, but right now that's the way it is right now. So, really excited about the things that are going to be happening in the future for me, and going to be doing my own book and obviously doing a lot more with this channel. So look out for that. But tonight we're doing episode 4 of Blue Eyed Samurai, which has been going really well for us. I really am enjoying, the breakdowns, and I'm looking forward to breaking down this episode. There's a lot in there that kind of changes things up a little bit with our characters.
Spices things up a bit.
Yes, they definitely spices things up.
Spicy episode.
Yeah. Before we start, I would love it if you could, people that are watching, if you could hit that like button, and also please subscribe to Diabolical Souls Presents. Yeah, now I'm getting tongue tied with saying that. It'd be greatly appreciated. I'm almost very close to 600. I'd love to break the 600 mark by Christmas at least. That'd be awesome. But you guys ready to do this? Let's get this thing started. Anything you want to say before we get started? Anything you want to say about episode 4?
Titties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just a giant setup for episode 5. It is a pretty good episode in its own right, like all of them.
Yeah.
But lots to like.
Yeah.
But
A lot of good
let's get.
musings in this episode. A lot of good philosophical musings in this one.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, there is a lot of peaches in this one.
Millions of peaches for me.
So this one's called Enzo. If you want to say this one, because I know Amateur and I are tongue tied with this one. The title of this episode is called
Blue Eyed Samurai, episode 4. Peculiarities.
Yes.
It is
It's
a hard
for
word.
Canadians to say, apparently.
Yes.
Peculiarities.
Peculiarities.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's starting to lose its meaning, dude. Peculiarities, bro.
Peculiarities. There's a lot of that's happening with this episode. There's a lot of references as we get into it, like especially when we get to the title screen. We start off here with the pot, and with the I think she's serving him some sake, and
Yes.
Of course.
her sake, and you start
Rice
right away. You
bread.
start to notice there's like birds everywhere in this episode, and we'll go through it. But there's a bird theme to this one, and as we get to the main title here, the color in the background. I've mentioned the changes of the colors in each episode so far. I'm just curious if you guys kind of noticed it with this episode, what this color represents.
Well, because we've been talking about it before, I've kind of like been looking out for what it could mean.
Yeah.
And this one, I can't really figure it out, unless, of course, it's an obvious reference to nocturnal affairs. But outside of that, I really don't know. Because it is pink, right? It's not just my monitor.
It's kind of like a foggy look. I think it's a reference to smoke.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go. Incense.
Yeah.
I see.
Incense,
Ah.
the smoke, and obviously, later on at the end of the episode, there's a mentioning of smoke and stuff like that, and of course the the little avatar down the bottom here, with the bird, which is a heavy influence in this episode as well, and it's all throughout this episode.
Has that
So
bird logo been there for every episode?
No,
no,
last episode was Arrow. It's like a little
yeah,
icon. It's like the
yeah,
Ozark
right,
thing
right,
they
right,
do
right.
for every episode. Title
Yeah.
card and then a little riddle to solve,
The Witcher tried to do it, but the show's so crap that no one cares.
yeah.
Didn't watch it.
Don't blame you.
Hey guys, can't stay for
Osawatomie,
the
what's
whole
going
stream,
on?
but popping in for a little. How's everyone? Thanks for joining us, Osawatomie. Greatly appreciate you joining us. So yeah, continue with this episode. Actually, I don't like this. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. And so we there was just something funny with the StreamYard here. So we're getting into, we see Misu with Ringo walking along. We still continue with this relationship. They're going into the town,
The new harbor.
the new harbor, and then you see this is the part that this kind of throws you off. Like Misu has this hard, way of life, but still takes time to give to, I guess, to the poor or the people in need. It's a great take for this character because it's such a hard character.
Well, you got to show some, you got to show some kind of like humanity with her, because like her whole motivation and character up to this point, it's just been this like revenge quest. So you have to give little elements there so she doesn't come across as like a complete psychopath or a sadist or something. So yeah, it's always a nice little touch when she just notices sort of the underdog and stuff. And you can call that woke or whatever, but like it for this character in particular, it adds a lot of needed humanity.
Yeah,
and I don't really know the significance of these like sort of like monk type characters here.
Their little whistle song they're playing
with the bucket heads.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean sound insensitive. I just don't know. There's no information about it. I tried looking it up.
Buckethead's a compliment where I come from.
Fair enough.
I think it's like more like also like, the idea of like, the lone traveler back in those days, there's no banks or anything, and you can only carry all your wealth on you. So it's like, you probably can't like hoard money. You probably got to spend it as easily as you make it, because otherwise like, you got a weight limit. You can't just be carrying around big sacks of gold everywhere you go.
Maybe she's just evading taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like she can hide all of her money in her mattress like I do.
Fair.
So yeah, we're getting some action here where the kids and some other individuals are running off. They start talking about a bloodbath. They're talking about a battle. Yeah, death duel, exactly. So they start talking about that. Our characters are starting to follow. Ringo's reading off the billboard saying, "Oh, it's a death duel." They're curious about who's dueling, and then we see these characters here, and watching this, you see Mizu just watch the stances, and then as this is going on, she is like watching everything that's happening, and then she's like looking at the techniques, and then she even mentions at the end of this the beautiful technique.
The painter's signature, immaculate.
Yeah.
She's like a connoisseur of sword fighting at this point, obviously. So I mean, she looks at this little fight the same way we would look at the show.
It's also very like world building. It's like the classic westerns, The Quick and the Dead, the lawless town where people marvel at people killing each other in the streets and nobody flinches. It's just like another day. Another death duel. I hope there's a death duel today. That'd be fun. That'd break up the monotony of the day.
And I do appreciate how fast it is too, because if you have two people fighting that close together with swords and they're both good at using it, if one's slightly better than the other, it's going to end pretty darn quick, which is exactly what happens. It's like they pass one time and it's over.
I've always wanted to see like a Mortal Kombat movie where like the fights are like 5 or 6 seconds long, because like like everyone likes
Yeah.
their Revenge of the Sith fight where it goes on for several minutes or whatever. But in
Yeah.
reality, if you ever see videos of two dudes attacking each other with machetes or whatever, those fights last 5 seconds tops before someone
Yeah.
is fucking seriously wounded and retreats.
Yeah, man. Like sword bouts, it's all about the 1, 2, 3, really.
It's like one stroke, and whoever lands the blow wins. And it's just like the Quick of the Dead, like the shoot offs. Those are quick.
Yeah, like that whole sword binding where our swords are like holding together and we're like getting face to face and we're like locked. It's such bull crap. And this show's just like, no. We're gonna show you what this probably looked like, at least to our
One
best
issue I have with
knowledge.
this though is that the swordsman he strikes, but he hits him on the he's right-handed.
Hits him on the wrong
He's
side.
Yeah, he's bleeding on the right neck side of the neck, but it looks like when he swings his sword, he's like hitting the abdomen. He's hitting the torso. So
I thought it was going to be the standard thing where it starts on one side and the whole head comes off,
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Even rewatching it, I kind of forgot, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it was just a little." But like, man, you clip that aorta, you're done.
Yeah,
they don't have the technology to close that wound in those days.
And even if they did, I mean, sounds like hell.
Well, and no one wants to. Yeah, no one wants to. Bother getting blood on their hands, literally.
Yeah.
But again, we come back to the art of this, the animation. Like it's so well done. Like the perspective. This scene, this episode is very bright. This is another thing I noticed. Like we're past episodes, we got that dark, dreary, grayscale.
Yeah,
this one's very bright. Yeah.
And something that just popped into my head now, like that you were saying, it was all bright. Even at nighttime, it's bright, and because of the lamps that you see in the background here, they're all lit up pink, and I think that might have something to do with the pink of the title card, perhaps.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the pink of something else.
Because it's a nice glow. Yeah. No, we'll save that for backroom. This is a nice family channel.
Yes,
for now.
Yeah, family channel, Diabolical Souls.
I'm kidding, of course.
Oh, I know. Please subscribe.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Kids allowed.
We're only 6 away. Everyone counts more than you would, subbing for big channels. So,
dude, I've joked about how like funny it would be to, on my channel or whatever. Like you find out some of your biggest fans are like 12-year-olds. You'd be like, oh no, you shouldn't be watching this, little boy. Go away.
Yeah, go watch a Roblox stream. Get out of here.
So yeah, this guy, he looks, I guess you could say you don't judge a book by its cover because he's got a scar on his face. He looks unclean. He's like not shaven. The guy that died was like a clean cut, like kind of a cocky, arrogant, wealthy swordsman. And then and then we get into Mizu talking about the technique, and Ringo, and then she mentions we got to find a brothel, and there's the pink lights that you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm also glad that we don't really go into the backstory of why those two dudes are fighting. It's just like, like I said, the Western standard, like, I was fighting over a poker game or something. Who cares?
Yeah. It's world building. It's not plot.
Yeah.
It would just bog it down. But I love how this whole episode feels like kind of like a side quest. I'm getting like cyberpunk vibes from this.
Blade Runner, yeah.
We gotta go do the thing so we can get to the other thing.
The pink
Not
light
to belittle
district.
it, but
well, you're right.
I'm looking for the Arasaka logo.
So yeah, they're walking through, and the one thing I noticed too with this episode is the line work. You're seeing a lot more line work in the faces, showing like the the heaviness, the weather beaten, the trauma beaten look in their faces, giving them a more detailed effect. Like they're not soft like Akemi or like Mizu or Ringo, your lead characters.
Yeah,
so,
well, this is more of like your B list or even C list brothel.
Yeah,
like it's named like they're known for their peculiarities. That's my best try. So it's a bit more of a dive than the other one. So yeah, it makes sense for people to be like kind of weathered or lower class ish of like the rich people. So
guys, it's not hard. It's peculiarities.
Yeah, well, Let's
got
see
it.
with
You
your
can do it.
normal accent.
You guys can
Yeah.
do it. I believe in you.
Peculiarities.
There you go. Yeah, I just like this idea of the it's a good racket you got. It's snowy, it's cold, and it's like
Mhm.
come inside. But then it's like every other strip club. It's like, hey, you can't just hang out here and not spend money. You gotta
Yeah.
spend money on some ladies. I'm sorry, it's the way it works. Go back out
No
in the snow if
loitering.
you don't like it.
And then we get this character who's obviously, your, doorman. And he's, watching, the door, making sure like the people have money,
Yeah.
asking what they need. And then Mizu's just like, Madam Kaji, that's who she wants to see. That's the only person she wants to see. And even when like they keep offering other options, she's just like, no, Madam Kaiji, and that's it. And so, like, you look at his face compared to the other two, like just weathered, aged, um,
I
and then
love
we
that
really
super
get,
receded hairline.
yeah, then we get into the brothel itself, which shows quite a bit of different takes. Like you got some hentai there, you got some other things happening in the background, which Mizu's just looking at and just kind of dismissing, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then of course the question is, do you have money? And there's the pouch of coins. So
Yeah, we don't let deadbeats freeload in here. It's like, come on. That's why most of these
Let's-
places have a cover charge,
yeah,
you want to come inside, hang out with the heat and the tea. I mean, $20, whatever.
And they do make it look really inviting. It's a very
Oh,
warm
yeah.
color palette in
I
here
wanna hang
compared to
out in here.
outside.
Yeah.
what's up, Jenna? Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to get spoilers. That's the funny thing about this show.
Well, go
A
watch
lot of-
it. It's been like 3 or
Yeah.
4 weeks we've been
You got
talking
time.
about it.
You
Come
gotta-
on.
Yeah, you can watch
Yeah.
it by Christmas. I said it's good Christmas viewing, probably.
Yeah, don't be
Yeah.
a normie like me. Go and actually watch it.
Yeah. But yeah. Also, I like the stuff where when they get in there, it's like, hey, I need to talk to Madam Kanji, and he's like, oh, well, she's very busy. If you like older women, we can hook you up with. It's like, I just need to talk to Kanji.
yeah. If you want a MILF, we got one for you.
I mean, she doesn't say anything about how like I have official business with her or I'm not a client or anything. It's just like, like what if this person just had a package for her? Miss Kanji? Oh, sorry, she has a very busy list of people she's servicing. If you take a number, it's like I really just have to give her a message. I don't know.
Yeah, very direct. Like it just like even when like in I think it was the first or second episode. What was I think the first episode when she went to the temple.
Yeah, it was the
Uh,
first
this-
episode.
Very direct, just simple. Like I want to give the message myself, and that's it. Like just I think that comes with as we find out later on. But we've like the life experiences that she's experienced. I think she's very guarded. She doesn't want to say too much.
Yeah.
She
I think
just
it's also a cultural thing too, because if she said she had a message, they would just be like,
True.
okay, well, tell me the message, I'll tell them. It's like there's that whole class divide where it's like, no, I'm not going to talk to a commoner or a proprietor. I only talk to other brothel owners kind of deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a caste system, but it was definitely, the noble and the peasantry were like two very different classes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think they have 4 in Japan at this time, now that I think about it.
They
But-
did. I think they mentioned it in I think it was the second episode or first or second episode.
The warrior, the merchant, the artisan, and the other one. I'd have to look up my notes now.
Amateur, am I the one who sounds like Steve Buscemi, or is that you?
I sound like Steve Buscemi? What?
I don't know. Nosferatu saying one of us sounds like Steve Buscemi. I think it's me.
Nos, Jay, why does your guest sound like Steve Buscemi? And why are you so sexy? Thank you, Nos. Thanks for dropping in, brother. Love chatting with Nos. Thanks for watching. He's probably talking about you, Enzo.
Nice.
I would assume.
I should start quoting Mr. Pink and stuff. Like,
Oh,
Why do I have to be
like-
Mr. Pink?
yeah. Mr. Pink sounds a bit like Mr. Pussy. Yeah. You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin playing just for the waitresses. All right.
because all you bums will want to be Mr. Black, and I'm not putting up with that shit.
Oh God, love it.
I love that
Favorite
movie.
movie. Yeah, actually, we should review that movie later on. Actually,
I'd be so down. I
oh
could
yeah,
do
I
all
mean,
of Tarantino's movies, man.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, I would do
Um,
like live script readings of the Tarantino movies. That would be awesome. Everyone gets a part or two. I'm sure that's not legal. I'm sure that'd be copyright struck, probably, right?
oh, probably. But getting back to Mizu and Ringo here, I think she offers him to go venture off again, and he's just like, apprentice should stay with his master, which I find funny.
Yeah,
You
he
see a
gets
lot of
sidelined pretty hard in this episode, really.
yeah, there's a lot happening, and you see in all the geisha girls here that they're all wearing gowns that have birds on them. Everyone, like, there's birds on
Oh
here.
yeah.
There's birds in here. There's birds on the walls. Everything's got birds on it. And like there's sparrows, hawks, falcons, and I think peacock. I think is the other one. And like are all wearing the kind of bird themed material.
I also like on that previous scene when the homegirl's doing the visual tea pouring.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
was
doing
really neat.
like showing off, like doing like a cool little spin while pouring the tea and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff.
It's a cool little detail, and the show does that a lot. Where like even if it isn't like historically true, you believe it is.
Yeah,
It's kind of
Blow
neat.
Brothers. What's a Blow Brother?
Oh, that's from when I was talking. I was on for an interview with Cannoli and Sassy, and I talked about my past and how I did a lot of substance that
Oh, blow!
You,
I got it.
an Italian?
Blow.
No way.
yeah. So yeah,
I thought you were about
uh,
to tell me that you like spent time like under a bridge, like doing blowjobs or something. Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, just doing blow. I got you. That's better. I was like,
No,
"Why?"
I do that now. I do
Yeah,
that
right.
now
For free.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine. It's
yeah. That's my weekends.
That's like Tuesday for me.
And it just runs into this theme that we're on right now perfectly.
Brothers.
So yeah, we're in the brothel here. Again, you see another bird. Then the man is like offering a green-eyed Japanese girl, which
No,
I thought was-
albino.
yeah, an albino. Yeah.
She's like
Yeah,
basically
now you're getting
insulted by
awesome
that.
help.
under the
Yeah,
breath.
like heavily insulted by that. Yeah, and then starts to walk over and demands to see Madame Kaiji, and he's kind of like, oh, okay, and then he kind of takes her there, and again, so like you got the eye peeping here, but it's with a bird is the
Yeah.
is the the painting on the wall.
The eye of the peacock feather. Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah. And then we
And
get
then we get
into
introduced to Madame Kaji.
Kaji.
Lots of birds.
Actually, you guys, if you guys don't mind, talk about this. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yep.
I'm just gonna. Hi, Vex. Thanks for joining us, Vex. How are
Hey.
you?
Well, yeah. Hey, Vex. Yeah, back to birds. I mean, birds, symbolize what? It's like slang for women in Britain. The birds.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just very. Also, the idea of like birds in cages, kind of similar thing. It's very sad. It's the same thing with these girls. There's got to be.
Yep. They're very much trapped in this sort of like lifestyle or career, I guess you could call it.
Career.
I didn't even think
lifestyle.
about it like a birdcage. It's kind of interesting because that almost ties into like the actual like decor of the building. Like
Yeah.
that. The
Many
design,
people-
it kind of looks like bars of a cage.
Yeah, it's kind of like those massage parlors. These women, it's like human trafficking, but it's like willing. That's the thing that's interesting. A lot of these women get into this, like willingly. It's like, especially back in these days, it's like, well, what else do I have to do? Like, what else?
Yeah.
What are my other options?
Well, it's they probably almost have to like fight their way up a ladder, fight
Oh yeah,
to like get into an actual like registered. I don't know if it's registered is the right term, but like a well put together brothel with like proper clientele and protection and stuff.
okay.
Most of them are probably just like either on the street or
I think
traded from town to town. It could probably get a lot worse.
You just gave me a pretty good idea. So one of my favorite movies, obviously, I love RoboCop. Paul Verhoeven, maker of Showgirls. Showgirls is a fun movie. It's a
Oh, yeah.
remake.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a remake of All About Eve, but the idea is like either actresses or these dancers, like, clawing each other's eyes out to get to the top of this
Yeah.
career. Do the same thing. Do a remake of All About Eve / Showgirls. Set it in a feudal Japanese brothel.
Mm,
I
That
would
could
watch
work.
that. I would
I
watch that movie.
interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Pick a mind.
This is and going back to this episode, like this is actually a short episode. Actually, now I think of it, it's like it went by pretty quick when watching it, but there's a lot in there.
It's the same length, isn't it? Though, like
Yeah.
runtime wise, it feels short,
Yeah, it feels short. It's 46, 47 minutes.
which is a pretty good
Time
compliment
di-
considering not a heck of a lot happens. It's
think it's
mostly
this-
just setups.
I think it's that time dilates when blood rushes to your other head. I think that's what happens.
Could be. Calm down, son. It's just a drawing.
I know.
Yeah. We get to see, the Madame Kaiji, like, reward for good work and then punish and slap the women that are not providing any good services for the brothel.
Yeah.
And I like how it's the one
gentleman-
with the smug fucking look on her face is the one that didn't
Yeah.
perform well.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
a bit of Schadenfreude for me there. I know the
Had-
type.
This guy here, he just gets
Like-
all excited. I like it when you slap them. I'm like,
You're
oh.
talking about like a Dunning-Kruger effect, but for whores. It's pretty funny.
What does the panel think of Klaus Kinski films?
Oh, God. No more.
No.
We're done with Wonka.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna bring Madame Kachi to Mizu. Mizu's sitting there, and kind of right away says, "I asked for Madame Kachi," and like then this conversation happens, and then whoa, what? Okay, then we get this back and forth dialogue between the two, almost like they're trading, trying to read each other off the hop.
Yeah.
Like it's a great conversation.
Yeah, it's a little battle of wits trying to feel each other out.
Yeah, I was
see
going to
what
say
the-
that, but
see
I
what the
didn't know
deal
if it
is.
was, yeah, I didn't know if it fit, but like, yeah, you're right. It's the battle of wits, just to get reads off each other, and
Yeah.
then,
Well, she's just trying to figure out well, I guess they assume it's a he, although
Yeah.
I don't buy that Madame Kaji doesn't realize it's a girl.
Right.
But anyway,
Exactly.
She
That
says
was
if-
like one
she
of my
says
big
if-
problems with this episode.
yeah. And she does say a funny thing where it's like, do you prefer boys or whatever? It's like some of my famous
yeah,
samurai prefer stamen or the pistol, and I had to look it up. So those are two flowers. One looks like the lady's hoo-ha, and the other one looks like a phallic thing. So
Yeah.
that's what that
Interesting.
means.
Talking about lady boys. Some of my samurais like men that are dressed up to look like ladies.
Yeah,
and we
hold on.
actually
they're saying
actually
South Korea.
see that, like, actually, as we move on here, because like
Yeah.
Matakachi invites Mizu to follow her, and they start like, this part where they talk about how sex is an art,
Yeah.
and we're learning how, was it the 12 and the 20? No, I don't know, I'm not familiar with this. I'm a good boy. I keep to myself. No, have you guys ever seen this? Like these, it's almost like the tantric sex thing that the East Indians use. The
Karma Sutra.
the Kama Sutra, and then there's the tantric sex, and then there's like others, like, but the Japanese have, for their women, they have like an actual booklet that they have to follow to get the 12 and to the 20.
Yeah,
The 12 is, I guess, the basics, and then the 20 is the more experienced positions for, like, it gets mentioned later on, for like shoguns and noblemen that want to so that's kind of a weird take, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, sex is an art, and then when a guy says sex an art, you just assume, or it's like, yeah,
what's up,
it's like,
Dempsey?
Hey, Dempsey in the studio? Oh,
yeah,
his studio. I see.
yeah.
I thought he meant like backstage here in the show. Oh, come on in. Yeah, as far as like when a guy says something like that, it's like when 40-year-old virgin, when Steve Carell talks about like the bag of sand, like
Yeah.
sex and art, everyone around him is like, dude, what? Have you not like made love to a woman before? Like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, the gentleman was wise to seek me. Because it's like, I can show you the ropes, kid.
Yeah, exactly. I see why you needed my expertise, young lad. But that is one of those things. I think that either she's got to be she's being very polite, I assume. It's got to be one of those things where she either assumes he's into boys or maybe she does think she's a lass. Because after like a few minutes of talking to her, if you're expert in pleasing men, surely you would realize pretty quickly, like, this isn't a dude. Like, this is something off about him.
Yeah, that's why I said that before.
But the thing I always go back to, and I think that throws people off, is because she has that mix. She's a mixed breed.
True.
So she's taller than the females that are present in Japan. She has a different look to her.
Also, Asian men do tend to be androgynous to some degree. Some of them very androgynous.
And just like the culture was so homogenous and everyone was just so set in like a certain lifestyle that it's just, if someone carried themselves and dressed like a man, everyone just assumes they're a man. They just don't really look into it. And I think that's definitely a factor. But the reason I forgive it the most is because like the writer will write the character a certain way. The Netflix or the studio will take that script and then they'll give it to the animators. They'll design the character to look a certain way. Then they'll cast a voice actress who sounds a certain way. And then you end up with something very feminine, whereas maybe the original writer intended something a bit less feminine. Hard to say, but I'll leave that for everyone's subjective opinion.
Nice. So yeah, and then again, we look at Madame Kaiji here. Her gown is like all like it's a big peacock, or like it's a big peacock here. That's tons of feathers and everything on it. So like, yeah, I heard what you were talking about, the bird cage. That was a good take there, Enzo. I like that.
Yeah, that was excellent.
I like that take.
Totally winging it here. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No,
bullshitting everything.
I got two guys with me that have really great takes. They know a lot about this.
Don't break the illusion, Enzo. It's all we got.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. This reminds me of that movie Hotel Royale. Is it? That came out not too long ago, where they were
with Jodie Foster.
Was Jodie Foster in that? I don't think so. I think it had.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was about to say, this kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones, when we're getting introduced to Littlefinger in his brothel. They do the same sort of thing.
Okay.
Where he's like walking them through his brothel and showing all the weird depravities through the little eye holes. And they're sort of walking down a hallway kind of like this at one point.
Yeah, this was one of the episodes. I like I said, I saw the show in 2 sittings. So I ended on this episode. And I remember I contacted Jay and I was like, I don't know where this show's going, but it seems like it's heading into hedonistic debauchery, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
I don't think it was a bad place to stop, but like,
it's a halfway point, it's good as any.
Yeah, overall story structure wise, yeah, there's a nice little cliffhanger at the end, but like, yeah, you really don't know where it's going.
But yeah, it's funny though, because this part right here is one of the best, my favorite lines of the whole show, where she talks about, I don't really have any desires, and homegirl says, if you are just a sword, are you even a human, or are you a demon? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's almost like she can see right through her.
It's like,
the movie I was talking about there, guys, was Bad Times at El Royale. That one. Was that where they were speaking in the back of the rooms? Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I have to check it out.
So, similar to like, and so yeah, they're peeking into rooms, showing like people's different desires. You see Mizu pop in. You see like the writing, and on the body. You see the guys being hung up. S&M, all that kind of stuff. You're seeing
fucking
this
sub.
Well, are you allowed to show animated genitals and stuff? Probably.
Oh yeah.
I think the boy kind of jumping in like to the scene, and this is the swordsman that killed the guy earlier in the duel.
Oh,
This is
right.
the guy with the scar in the face, and he's
Oh
got
shit!
a
I didn't
lady
even
and
notice that.
he's. Let me see if I can get his face
Well,
here.
he's getting slapped around by this voluptuous woman, which is like, all right, I get behind that. And then Homeboy comes into frame, and it's like, well, okay, wait a minute. And obviously, this guy's a little bit more adventurous than I am,
Yeah,
but still,
Just a little
whatever
bit.
you want.
there's the scar in his face right there, and the stubble and everything.
Well, I'll be. I didn't even notice that either. I was too distracted by all the sights.
All the skin, everything that was going on.
God.
Yeah, I mean, just showing the different, like Madam Kaiji, you're just talking about the options that was mentioned earlier, trying to get a take on Mizu, seeing if she can get a read off of him or him at this point, but her. Um, and then this scene, I like this where it's just like you mentioned you know, the conversation back and forth, like with the sword. What are you? You need to have to become a great samurai. There, you have to have some other arts. You have to be, practicing in other arts, and sex is part of it.
Yeah, you have to understand yourself and what you want.
Yeah. Which I mean, there's the 12. I think it's the book, the 12 Rings of a Samurai. I think that's what it is, or the
Okay.
5 Rings.
Yeah, the
Rings.
line is to deny desire is to cut out a corner of your own heart.
Yeah.
She's
That
also
is
got
a
case of
swordsman
the,
who knows the shape of his soul.
Oh.
Very poetic.
She's got a case of the hypertelerism.
Mhm.
Yeah, when your eyes are far apart. Area
Yeah.
Right.
It's cool.
And again, the line work, right? This is very simple, but you're seeing like
Yeah, those
the age.
those two little eye lines, 4 little eye lines just add so much. That's how
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
old. That's how you know she's
Yeah,
elderly.
exactly.
So those
I was
4
about to
little
say.
line eyes.
It's crazy, but she looks aged, right? So
Yeah.
Efficiency.
and then perhaps you're embarrassed to say it vocally, like you just write it down what your desire is, and then Mizu writes down, uh, uh, Abijah. Oh my god,
Abijah.
Abijah Fowler.
Abijah.
It's like
Oh my
Elijah,
God.
but with a B.
Yeah, Abijah Fowler, and you see the tone in Madam Kaiji's mannerism change real quick.
Yeah. Well, now she knows
And
what
again,
she's about.
no,
So
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, amateur.
sorry, I'm just trying to say. Yeah, you have murder in your eyes. I see your desire now. This castle allows no one in, but oh, sorry, that's her line. Sorry, the script I'm reading, it doesn't say who is talking, but yeah, she gets a beat on her finally, and it's like, oh, so you want to kill these people? Obviously, you know about them, so there's a white guy being sort of like held politically hostage in this thing, and you want to kill him. So it's like a suicide run. You're gonna like bring danger to my front door, blah blah blah. And it's
Well, it's like she kind of deduced, like, you have death on your brain. Like, that's why you're not interested in any of these carnal pleasures. You're too busy you're in killing mode, which I don't really condone in my place of business. I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly.
People come in here in killing mode and they kind of kill the vibe.
And again, we see more birds. So, I mean, like this is when I watch this again, like I mentioned, the back room, you can get the vibe of woke in this episode. You're kind of scared. You're kind of like, where's this going? There's a lot of takes on trying to belittle men, even like the guy, the doorman, when he's like,
her little doorman. I think that's as close as this show actually comes to being woke, because like you have like this matriarch woman running shit, and he's like her doorman. And then you have like
it's going to pivot somewhere else when I first saw this episode, but because it was like, I was like, if this is going where I think it's going, or where it feels like it's going, then this is going to be kind of cringe.
I wasn't sure where it was going. I was just really hoping it wasn't going to be like some anime style. She just blows the freaking doors open, and it's all about her being like the next Ray or some shit. But
that was my concern with this episode. Like, I was enjoying it, and then in this episode, I was like, okay, where's this going? Just like you guys, I was like, oh no, don't tell me like the smoke and mirrors of, tricking us all, like we're going to get invested in this story, and then boom, the last half is going to be garbage.
because
but
you
it didn't.
basically have two strong females basically battling for wits here, trying
Hmm.
to like figure out each other's motivation and giving each other advice, kind of, or like guidance, and coming to some sort of an agreement. And it's like, yeah, not the strongest part of the show, but like at the same time, it's written pretty well, because like you sub in two dudes or like two different type of character. It's great dialogue.
Yeah.
Like they read each other well. Everything they understand about each other makes sense. Based on the
Hmm.
information they have.
Your standard quid pro quo type thing going on here, where
Yeah,
she's gonna want what's his name, Abijah's
I do.
info.
Yeah, I do like this shot though, because we're obviously seeing Mizu give her, she's given the dialogue, but we see that clenched fist and it's like shaking a bit, so we
Hmm.
understand what Madame Kaji is feeling, and it's kind of a cool shot too. I like it.
Yeah, it's
Stood
nice.
out for me.
It is a nice shot. Like the thing you notice with like Mizu too is just the calm and collective mannerism with everything, and the characters, like they're always testing Mizu, but it's just constant calm and readiness and just um stoic. I hate to use that word because of Ahsoka, but like
Oh God.
she's yeah, yeah, like I hate to use that word because I had to use it so much for that series, because that's all they try to do with those characters. But yeah, Mizu's just a really cool, uh gunslinger from those old westerns, that like Clint Eastwood kind of character here, not giving any like if they're playing poker, you couldn't get a read off of her, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you could see the other characters like right here, Madame Kaji, just like getting frustrated because she's not getting the information that she needs to uh
Yeah. She doesn't have a
get
tell.
yeah, a tell. So and then finally releases, and then realizes like, not only can I um release some of my own emotional stress about this, but I can use this person to get what I need from her. So like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a pretty good scene here.
It's like the man with no name, but
Yeah.
the man with no penis. That's kind of what we
Yeah.
got.
Nice.
Jeez.
um Also, Tuomi, if you got to go, take care, brother. He's giving the peace signs. I don't know if he's sleeping or not. Yeah, and we're just getting the dialogue of, tell me where he is, and then this is, I think it leads into them walking outside next. Oh no, this is the
Yeah, she's basically like, you need to get the frig out of here, because we
yeah.
don't serve that here, sir.
Yeah.
And she's
Hmm.
like, well, I offer other services," and does her little wish
Yeah.
wish through the smoke.
Yes, and it's shaped like a bird again, like the rising. This is kind of like the phoenix rising. Um,
Ah,
it's a pretty cool scene. I actually really like this scene.
I also
Um,
like when she's like, why would I kill my client? It's like, because he deserves to die. And she's like, dude, if you
oh yeah,
killed every single person here that couldn't, climax without seeing blood, you'd grind your sword to a stump. It's like,
yeah,
dude, what kind of
yeah,
clientele do you have here, my lord?
yeah, uh,
You got the one guy who just
yeah,
gets his foot tickled. It's like more people like that.
yeah.
More chill customers,
Yeah. So yeah. Mizu pulls out her sword, and then just uh, Madame Kaji. He's like, okay, this person's for real, and they start walking through the town, and she starts talking about the mob boss, Master Hamata. He's the owner of the town, takes money away from everybody, takes 50, I think she mentions 50%. Yeah, everything belongs to boss Hamata. He takes up to 50%. You see, how ruthless he is by, the Thousand Claws. That's his clan, and they just kill this individual right on the street in front of everyone. And then you see, like, the thing I like about this too is you see a different look with um, Madame Kaiji here. Like, she's
yeah.
more
Softer.
softer. Yeah. She looks more feminine, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Well, she starts talking about the girl that she took in, Kineo,
Mhm.
and you can see that like mothering sort of instinct come through a bit, which
Mhm.
is pretty neat for the animators to pick up on. Kind of appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's obviously the girl that she takes on, trains her up. She was like deaf mute. She was like the first person to kind of connect with her, and you can like see the abuse through like the backstory, and then
Mhm.
eventually, what's his face, Bakamata comes and takes these little things. Real nice guy. Some
Yeah.
might call that a sadist. Takes pleasure in harming others.
Yes. Um, and yeah, she talks about, yeah, like you said, this is the backstory here where um Kinyu is brought in by, Madame Kaiji. There's very little trust. She bought her, she mentioned she bought her off a farmer who abused her like a mule. And
Yeah,
Some
so
people just can't catch a break, man. It's just like karma just slaps them in the face for whatever reason over and over
mhm.
again. It's rough.
And the patience for Madame Kaiji here, which is again we see the birds and everything, but again we see a different side to Madame Kaiji. Like it's funny how in the beginning she's giving out gold pieces or giving out coins to the two geisha girls, and
Yeah.
then the one girl's getting slapped, and then you're seeing her being very like, and they're scared, like they're legit scared with their hands out, like they're like kind of pulling back at times. But now you're seeing a different side to Madame Kaiji here, and when she's telling the story, where she's showing patience and nurturing and kind of being a motherly figure to
Yeah.
this individual.
She's being a
Um,
mom instead of a boss lady,
yeah,
she's like the queen pin at work, but it's like this is like, can't get emotionally involved. That's kind of one of the other things like I think she kind of learned from this whole experience.
yeah,
Like can't get emotionally involved in these women, these what do we call them?
or as
she's
Geishas.
the
another
show,
geisha
as the
girl. Yeah,
shogun would say, don't name the pigs.
yeah. Um, and again, we see another bird here. So like the theme is birds. Um, and then there's, Master Hamata. Uh,
Yeah, tell
and
me your
he
character's a
actually,
villain without saying he's a villain.
yeah. And I want to actually just go back here. When you see him, when you get a close up of his face, you see the lines to show the weather beaten face, the like he's been through some wars and some duels. Like he's very aged here, and he's got
Yeah,
a lot of freckles on his face too, which I found weird.
and you kind of compare the styles of like the dress and the designs that are on it. You have these nice flowing, sort of like natural elements to Madame Kaji stuff. It's all birds and plants and stuff. When you look at this guy, it's all geometric shapes, and then the flowers he
Hmm.
does have, it's just this like textile pattern. So it's like it's almost like they're trying to draw opposites. He's got very harsh, like high contrast colors
Well,
versus the nice earthy stuff.
he's got that orange and reds, like he burns everything he touches, and then the
Yeah,
like underneath is the black. So like he's so dark, his soul's so dark and black that it just burns everything that he touches. Like I said, like the coloring for this series is done really well too. It's similar to Arcane, like the colors that they add to
yeah.
the
There's so much.
characters.
There's so much they're trying to bring across about the character, just in the design of the character. Yeah,
Hmm.
get that for sure.
Yeah, and then you see the emotional side of Madame Kaiji, which is like, um, and who I think it was Enzo that mentioned it, or was it you, amateur? Like this little side quest, and it is a kind of
Yeah,
a side story. It is, but
One
it
some
maiden.
fits.
some might call it a MacGuffin, but I don't think they know
Mm,
what that word means.
yeah,
No,
if
no, this
if
wouldn't be a MacGuffin.
instead of a girl, if it was an object, it would have been a MacGuffin. But like the
You
whole
would
idea
call
of
this a
having to go,
vignette. This would be called a vignette. It's like a
there you go.
self-contained story within the story.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's what we would call this. A MacGuffin would be, yeah, like you're saying, like the girl is the key. There's a key or an item that's like central to progressing the plot forward, and that item could be anything. That's a MacGuffin.
yeah,
How,
yeah. It has to be an object though.
Hi, Sassy. Thanks for joining us.
Yo.
Yeah. McGruffin. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is the part that's really significant too when Mizu says like, "You want me to kill him?" and she's like, "No, I want you to kill her." And it's just like you're
Dun,
like, "Oh,
dun,
damn."
dun.
Yeah, yeah,
And her suffering.
yeah,
It's like, good God.
It's pretty dark.
yeah. It is.
I mean, I
And
get
then,
it, but it's like, oof. Okay.
so here's the reference to smoke. I will be like smoke, and then going back to like the theme with the beginning there, the color. In the beginning, there was a lot of snowfall, and now you see a lot of fog and a smoke throughout this
Hazed.
episode, and the incense and
Sweet.
everything and especially with the phoenix that was rising in the smoke. That's another one. So that's why I thought that color could have been towards the smoke in this
You
episode.
also see the pink lamps emanating through that fog. They're all like,
Yes,
it's like a pink haze almost.
like
I
right
think it
there.
could just be a combo thing, man. It's a bit of
It
both.
could be. It could be. Um, so yeah, now where she's like mentions to Mizu's like just rest for tonight, uh, and make sure no one catches you doing it, and do it in a way that they don't know it's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
assassin.
Looks
Got
like
to
an
make it look
accident.
like an accident. Yeah.
They'll come
Yeah,
find me. The 1,000 claws.
yeah, and
But
she gives her some
yeah,
signing to.
this is something from the beginning, right? Where she gets the couple drops in the tea or something. What was that? Like, what is she putting
That
in?
is that was
That's
a you see that like you'll when we'll get to it, but you'll see that it's a kind of like a Bill Cosby uh, uh elixir,
Yeah,
I want to say.
yeah. It's like, but also it's one of the few times I think in this whole show where, because I mean, we do flashbacks here and there, but I think it's one of the few times where we jump forward is the beginning of this episode. Because I remember that being kind of jarring at the beginning, where it's like a couple drops in the tea or whatever. The lady brings the tea over, and you realize it's like Mizu is getting it, and then cut
Yeah.
back to now they're arriving, watching the death duel and all that stuff, and now we're finally back to the beginning. And I don't remember what's in there, just like something to help her sleep, or is that just what goes in the tea?
I
Just
think it's
seems.
poison.
I mean,
No, it's
Well,
not
she,
poison.
what a
It's
Kemi
a
puts in the tea?
yeah, it's not poison because
okay.
she well we'll get to it later on, but
Oh, okay.
she put what she puts into it's sake because like she says I don't drink, and she's like,
Right.
we'll have some to relax and just take the edge or just take a sip. And so this again we're getting into it flips into the backstory of Akemi. So like now we're getting into the Lord coming in. This is where he mentions the pictures like um the sex positions, the 12 and 20 positions. So like
Oh,
he's
Jeez.
yeah, yeah. So he's mentioning that. Um, sorry, YouTube. Um, and then he realized it's a fake. She's not there,
I
it's
and
wonder what
it's a
happened to this
double.
poor girl.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna turn the girl around and like the watermelon head with a wig on it was gonna like roll down, and it's gonna be like a
that's what I thought too. I
crude
actually thought
stacking
that.
of pillows with like a kimono over it. Like that's what I thought.
That would have been too
Fair-
much effort. Just use one of the slave girls. It'll be fine.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That was a good employee right there for sure. Just sitting there. It's like, just sit here until the last possible moment.
Yeah.
Don't blow my cover. Okay.
The other thing I want to talk about too is the eyelashes or the eyebrows.
Oh yeah.
I really noticed it this episode with the eyebrows. Like they really, I
They're
do each
fierce.
character differently. Yeah, I'm like, this is quite the interesting take here. They artistically how they went with this. It's
Mm.
Yeah, that's something we learned from like the Dragon Ball cartoons. Is like you can take the same face over and over again and change the hairstyle and the eyebrows,
Yeah.
and it just changes everything. It's just like so
yeah,
radically different.
Yeah, they do
yeah,
that a lot in animation, especially like simple like TV stuff.
Oh, totally.
It's just save time, whatever.
But those
yeah.
eyebrows, yeah, those are some. Yeah, they look like caterpillars for real, or some
Got
kind
a
of
nice soul
those-
patch.
those are
sea
bat
urchin.
wings. Yeah. So Akemi is, off, and she's trying to find Taigen, and we basically we just get this theme here of going from town to town, like, and showing a picture of Taigen. People are just saying, no, he's not
Yeah,
here. He's
little
not here.
travel montage.
I do like this music
Yeah,
they play.
and then what was that? Sorry.
I do like this music they play in this scene. You get some cool little Chinese, like kind of oldies.
Yeah, I
Or
did notice the
Japanese.
music was like the soundtrack at least was a bit more on point in this episode in a few places,
Mhm. Yeah.
especially later on. It just felt a lot more intentional than before.
And then we get Akemi and noticing the guards that are out searching for her. And so she's like trying to steer clear, and she's trying to get out of here. And then we get in this kind of, good old trope of avoiding being caught. Then you're just going down a different path. He's getting frustrated. And there's a part there. Oh yeah, it's coming up right here. See if I can. He's grumbling and upset, and he's just like, saying what a pain in the ass basically she is. And he has the elixir in his hand, and he puts it in his pocket.
Oh
That
shit, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he talks about how he in the past he would just sit there and drug them, and then sell them off. That's what he's kind of mumbling, and
Oh,
so he has that elixir that he uses, and he has it in his hand, and she's like hearing him, and then he puts it in his pocket, and then the guards come, and then they kind of go down the different path. Then we go to
Haiji Shindo and
Haiji
Abijah
Shindo, yeah.
Fowler.
Yeah, and this is another a great, transition into back to them, like, because you
Yeah.
you kind of forget about them, you forget about Taigen, even though she's looking for Taigen, you kind of forget that he's in this precarious spot or position, and he's like talking about hit you with the hammer, and you see Taigen just brutally beaten, like,
Yeah,
wow.
bruised up pretty good. He's
Yeah.
having his Theon Greyjoy experience.
Yeah, gonna get the
Yeah.
hammer.
Yeah, gonna get the hammer.
And
And it's kind of sadistic the way he goes about it too. It's like you will hit him with a hammer, you will cut him
Mhm.
with a knife, and it's just like, why are
Yeah.
you being all third person about it or second person? It's so weird.
Also sitting there, like right there, like 5 feet from him in your little comfy chair, drinking like your
Yeah.
chalice. Like,
Well, this is super cathartic for him because he like got his whole hand cut off, right? So he's like,
Mhm.
this is revenge. And plus, he was a sadistic bastard before this, so not fun times for Taigen. And Abijah's just like, man, this is boring.
Yeah, this is boring. There's a reason why I haven't been down here for like 10 years.
Yeah,
He says a decade, which is crazy.
yeah. I am not
and-
gonna wait for you for supper, which is like the
Yeah.
ultimate insult.
And then they just continue, and
Man,
Taigen just he
amount
won't
of-
give up.
No,
Go ahead.
the amount of detail they put on this guy for this shot, just compared to like the rest of the animation, it almost jumps out as a bit uncanny at first, just because
Mhm.
it's so departed from like what the rest of the characters look like. But you're almost getting like crucifixion art vibes.
Yeah.
Just way more shading, more contour, more lining around, like especially the eyes and the nose and stuff.
The thing here too is like Taigen not willing to give up Mizu. Even though he lost to him, he has a contract with him. He's betrayed him. Like they've gone through already a battle together, and still kind of stays true. Like it just shows a lot about his character. He's very loyal.
Yeah. Well,
Extremely
the only thing he
loyal.
says is he deserves better than you,
Yeah.
which is pretty interesting. Because it's like he's come to respect Mizu to a certain degree. It's like, well, he defeated me, she defeated me, and then
Mhm.
we work together and got out of like an impossible situation because of it, showed or basically stared down this like warlord, powerful dude without like any hesitation, or she wasn't afraid or anything. So it's like she earned a lot of respect from him through that. So, and plus, that it's that whole road back to his honor from the beginning, his original motivations to get married to Akemi, and I think he still sees that as a possibility, but only if he gets to kill Mizu at some point. But it has to be him, so he's not going to give her up because he's stubborn as shit.
Yeah, very stubborn.
And like, if you're going to be the top of your dojo in this era of Japan, yeah, you're going to be pretty darn stubborn and disciplined.
This part here, Abijah going into the chapel, little chapel.
This is my favorite part of the whole episode.
Yeah,
oh my God. It's so good.
Well done. He doesn't believe in the Lord. He doesn't believe in Jesus here, but like he talks to him like it's pretty powerful when you think of it. Like he's just like, listen, man, I don't believe in you. I don't worship you. I'm not quoting this, but it's like, but
I wouldn't do you the dishonor of asking you a favor.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Because it says like, look, they just built this because they assumed a white guy wanted a chapel, and they put it right next to a dungeon, and he's like playing with a spider, like as he's like doing monologuing,
which is great, which is so good, because like this obviously spider indication of like evil, evil ways.
He's just going through the bad guy checklist, this whole like scene.
Yeah, exactly.
He's bored with seeing someone get tortured. He's not waiting for his host for dinner. He shows up to the church and mocks the Lord to his face while, saying, play with a spider. Just basically talking about how evil he is.
Yeah. The part I love about this the most, though, is he bargains with God. He's like, listen, so I know what these people have done to your followers. They crucified him, kicked out all the priests. Your word died on their lips. And it's like, I'm in a position to change all that in the way I see fit. So if you help make it happen, I'll, spread your religion. Which is cool for two reasons. One, like that whole idea of bargaining with God is done like so many times in great stories, at least a lot of them. And then it's also historically accurate because that's more or less exactly what happened down there.
I promise to colonize Japan and these heathens, But it's funny because like you said, like Japan's very Christian now. A lot of very devout Christians.
There's a big Christian movement there, especially right after the Edo period ended. There was like a huge like revival, like spiritual movement there.
Do you guys know about you guys know about KFC on Christmas in Japan? Like how it's like a huge deal.
No.
Oh, I have no idea.
Getting KFC on Christmas. That's a big thing down there. Or is that China? Probably Japan, I think.
Look it up.
Interesting. Look it up. It's interesting. It's pretty cool.
I'll have to look that up now.
This is one of my favorite images. Like he's like playing with like what many people consider evil, like an evil creature. Like it's portrayed as evil, looked upon as evil, as a spider, right? And he's playing with it like it's a toy. Like he's just like I listen. I can, I don't believe in in what you're trying to do here, Jesus, but I'm playing with the devil, and he's like a plaything for me too. I make deals with whoever I want.
Yeah,
like,
I'll be your instrument if it advances my position. Yeah.
Such a great take here,
which is dope because that's such a biblical thing that happens so many times.
Yeah. They play it off really well here. And then
honestly, this is the part where I was watching through this episode when I was starting to get like serious doubts, and then like they do this thing with the villain where we're like, oh, I love it. It's so good.
Oh, it's beautiful. And then he just sits there and he starts to walk away here, and then he's just talking about making a deal, and then he just leaves and he comes back, and then he opens his hand and releases the spider. Like, here you go. Like, I got no use for souls.
Yeah, I'll mutilate 100 innocent people, but this spider that's making cobwebs in this chapel that I never asked for, I'll let him keep making cobwebs. It's like the ultimate middle finger.
This line right here, I got no use for souls. That is
It's country
Oh,
all
song.
of
man, I love that.
all of that character's dialogue is like magic. It's so
Oh,
good.
Turn it
so
into a
good.
country song.
You could
Mhm.
give it to that dude. Wow, I can't remember his name. You know that guy that's
Randy
exploding
Travis.
right now, Randy
Oh,
Travis.
Sturgill Simpson. Yeah, that's who you're thinking of.
The guy. It's a
Sturgill
damn
Simpson.
shame.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I was saying Sturgill Simpson. You're seeing him. I'm seeing him in movies everywhere. Sturgill Simpson. He's like on Righteous Gemstones. He's in The Creator.
Oh,
He
oh
was
yeah, yeah.
in Killers of the
Oh,
Flower Moon. His ass is showing up everywhere.
interesting.
Anyway, Turtles all the way down, bro.
So here's the point I was talking about earlier. He's bitching about Akami, and he's like saying nothing's good enough for her. And then she's like listening to him rant and rave. And right here, let me see if I can get it. Right here is where he has the elixir. You see it in his hand here.
Yeah,
Yes, Sleepy.
he's got malicious intent in those eyes.
Yeah, and he actually mumbles like, "I could have. It's so easy just to give this to her, and I could just sell her off."
Blessed silence, he says.
Yeah, and so there. This is where we get to like a deja vu, where we see the whole sequence again from everyone running into the center town square to see the duel. Akemi hears this. The boys are talking about seeing blood, and Akemi's like, "This is the place," because she thinks it's
Yeah.
Taigen, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the kid's like a skinny guy and a big guy.
mhm.
The one's got a face like a demon. I think that's where she got it from, because that's what she heard Taigen say about Mizu before. So I think she knows it's Mizu. And then she sees Taigen's scarf around her neck, which I didn't notice that she took from him.
Yeah.
I honestly thought
Yeah.
she was wearing that the whole time.
And so like Akemi starts following Mizu.
Because we're
Picks
not
up
back
a
to the
little
beginning
shiv.
of the episode again, right?
Yeah.
Right to the beginning of the episode.
Back
So
to the
it's-
Pink Light District.
It's like Back to the Future Part 2, where like Marty McFly is like spying on, stuff that only the audience knows and stuff. He was there the whole time. This lady is there the whole time. Akami. Sorry.
And then this guy's like, well, they're known for peculiarities. Oh wow, I said it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You
did it.
And then he enters in, and he's like, you see, they talk about feet a lot. Like this guy talks about her feet a lot in this.
Well, we keep referencing how it's very Quentin Tarantino-esque.
Yeah, it's just a nod, man.
This guy's just like, no, dude, you can't come in here. Madame Kaji won't even look at a girl from you. And he's just like, oh, she'll like this one. She'll like.
He says, not since you sold us that poxy puss. What is?
yeah. I was like, what is
that?
Yeah. Here's the hentai. This is the squid. Going into.
I don't think that. That's not something I don't think they used to do post pre-atomic bomb. I don't think that we. I think that's something that we changed in them.
Never nuke a country twice.
Well, it's because of their censorship. Their pornographic censorship. I think that's where the whole tentacles and random objects and everything's blurred.
I would agree with you if I didn't go on a deep dive looking at Edo period art, and there's a lot of octopuses,
eels,
and lady boys, and very strange shit.
Use produce like a normal woman, right? Like a cucumber or something.
No, it has to be alive. It has to be alive.
Oh yeah, it wriggles around. It's all slimy. It's like self-lubricating. Yeah, you're actually making a lot of sense actually.
Moving right along then.
Moving right along, yeah. Akemi is like, facing reality, but holding it in really well here. And obviously seeing Mizu as trying to wiggle her way into the point where she can use the elixir that she got from the guy that was trying to sell her off.
Goro.
Was it Goro? Was that his name? Goro. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. And so we're seeing her, being sold off to Madame Kaiji right away, which is a weird, again, going back to what you guys were talking about, gets a read on Akami right off the hop.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
scary.
like immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks there, CLS. Came back because I forgot to like the stream. Thanks, bro.
Nice.
Appreciate that.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's sweet.
Yeah, that's very nice of you.
Yeah, she can tell right away that this girl is, not
a nobleman.
a noble girl, but she couldn't tell that Mizu is a woman. I don't know. I mean, whatever.
I think it's
that
because
is
of the
that
mixed
is my
breed,
major
though.
nitpick with the whole show. But
I think that's it. I truly believe it's because of the mixed breed, because she's a lot taller. She's taller than Madame Kaiji, Mizu. She's even got broader shoulders than Madame Kaiji. When you look at them side by side, like she can look like a slender gentleman.
yeah,
I think that's what could throw her off. But again, you're talking about an experienced,
Yeah, me on top. No man likes that.
yeah.
Like, tell me what your richest client's favorite position is, and she says me
Me
on
on
top,
top.
and that's like the tell somehow. And she's like, Goro, you're an idiot. This woman tricked you again. Like you get tricked all the time.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know more about this Goro character. He seems funny.
Yes. Well, we got actually congratulations to Michael Green and Amber Nuzimi, the creators of Blue Eye Samurai, because they got renewed for a second season.
Yes, they did.
Mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's
Very
awesome.
exciting.
I'm glad. I'm glad that's happening.
They deserve
Hopefully
it
get
for
Blue
sure.
Eye Samurai versus Count Dracula, Carfax Abbey.
Well, you might, because she's on her way to Europe.
That's why
yeah,
I'm literally hoping for that.
Yeah.
I still want to see the bride from Kill Bill fight vampires from Dusk Till Dawn, because technically, those movies take place in the same universe. Earl Parks
Yeah, I
is
was
like
about to say, yeah.
thread,
that would be sick.
Why can't we see that? God, bride
needs
in
to
Mexico.
happen.
Yeah, thank you. Make it happen, Quentin. Please.
He'll have Salma Hayek in it again for sure.
Or don't even involve Quentin. Just get Robert Rodriguez. It doesn't matter. One of the two. Who cares?
Rodriguez would kill it. He
would
do
be silly.
A great job.
Anyway.
So Madame Kaiji right away picks up on everything. Says if she can make it through the night, I'll pay you. Then we're starting to see, she gets put in with all the other girls. There's a lot of jealousy. This girl gives her a torn gown. Again, you see a lot of bird references all throughout, like on here, and probably next scene.
Like a good lass, she makes the best of it.
This part here too, you see Akemi kind of she's gonna break and she's gonna tear up, and then she's like, "No, I gotta stay strong," and
she bucks up.
Yeah, and comes around and saying she's putting the elixir and a knife in her little whatchamacallit, oh my
kimono,
cummerbund or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And then she comes out, and again, a bird on the top and
little orchids or whatever.
Yeah, little orchids, cherry blossoms. I think
cherry blossoms. That's it.
Yeah. And then they say, this is the part where the prostitute, she's just like, send her to Master Watari the walrus.
Yeah, the fat ugly guy who can't get it
he
up.
Was on,
cracked my ribs.
He was on top of me for 6 hours and he cracked 2 ribs. I'm like, oh damn.
Make his little seal bark again.
Yes.
All those jokes.
Yeah.
Goo baby. Goo. Yeah, but I do like how, like, when she first shows up to the brothel, all the ladies are just kind of like, oh, hello, it's not too formidable, but also not too polite.
Yeah,
there's probably a high turnaround at this place. You know what I mean?
Like, you're the newcomer. It's like walking into a new kitchen for the first time. Just everyone's just like, yeah, you're nothing until you prove yourself. And it's like, all right, fair enough.
Yep. Go take on the walrus, and then you'll earn our respect.
Yeah. So Akemi takes on the challenge, and then again, more birds. You see the peacock in the back. And she just like kind of uses her intelligence and her wits to
She uses her education.
intellectually, yeah, her education to stimulate the noblemen here. And they're obviously watching through, the wall. Um, and this guy, he talks about he's never won a fair fight. Like he's just like kind of like a
It's just everything that comes out of his mouth makes him more despicable.
yeah.
Drinking hot boiling water out of a kettle.
He's just trying
Yeah.
to get her undressed the whole time. It's kind of funny. They do this like haiku back and forth thing, and like what he says is just fucking dribble, and then she comes back and like defends it. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, and look at the line work on this guy's face.
Yeah, they
It's
make him
just-
look like a total piece of shit.
He's
It's great.
totally hideous because he has 3 spots on his face. That's like how simple it is to make him, look like a freak, basically. Because when you look at an old man in detail and all the liver spots and blemishes and stuff, it's pretty gnarly. But like with an animation style like this, like you can just literally add like 3 little spots and a couple extra lines, some crow's feet, and also it's his teeth really that make him seem repulsive.
Yeah.
His teeth are what, and obviously his huge Jabba the Hutt shape. His cankles. He's got a lot of
Yeah,
problems.
you sure he's not mixed breed? Half English?
half walrus.
But this shot here, you guys know Don Bluth, the animator,
Of course.
Yes. Okay. This kind of looks like a Don Bluth shot to me. A very simplified scene. I don't know why, but it reminds me of like a Don Bluth animation cell. Just like the lips, I think it is. I think it's the lips.
Yeah, those little lines in there that look like they're
Yeah.
Make him look chapped.
I could see that. Don Bluth. That guy was at Disney for a while, right? Like the
He
Disney
did like
Dark
Black
Era or whatever.
Cauldron. He worked
Oh,
with
fuck. Right. Yeah, he did like Land Before Time.
Balto,
Yeah, okay. All Dogs Go to Heaven,
the
which is
Fievel
his big break.
movies.
Yeah. He did was it what's the one with the Secret of Nim? Was that Don Bluth?
I think so. Yeah. We're Back, a Dinosaur Tale. He's got a bunch of them. I do love Land Before Time. Oh man, that's a good one.
I did as a kid for sure.
I think he worked with Robert Crumb too a little bit.
Oh,
I think he. Yeah.
Black
makes
Cauldron's
sense.
fantastic. I gotta rewatch that. I remember loving that as a kid. But anyway.
Oh yeah. So
Lord of the Rings for kids.
So they're going back and forth with the haiku and the poems, and all of a sudden he's just like, "Oh, hello, old friend, I missed you." The sagging
He's getting
chest.
aroused from the back and forth banter. It's impressive.
Yeah. And then
that alone should be worth commending, right? With the walrus.
This shot right here too reminds me of I don't know if you've seen American Pop.
Oh, of course.
That Ralph Bakshi, Frazetta, and I think Bluth I think he might have been in that as well a little bit. But this reminds me a lot of those like early 70s animation. Like it's just the look of it.
I can see that. Well, that's all Bakshi was in a sense other than the mocap stuff he did, it was basically just like very, very simple line work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could see that.
Well, Bakshi was really good at like taking styles and making it his own. So I mean, even when I was talking with Dan Lawless, he was mentioning that, how he would take a style, and the guy didn't want to. I guess he was too busy or didn't want to do the project, and he's just like, or he was too much. He wanted too much money for the project. That's what it was. And Bakshi's just like, well, I'll just do it myself, and he would create it and make it even better. It's like,
nice.
Man.
Well, Bakshi has this great style with like very thin lines and minimal lines and flat colors. Like he doesn't do a whole lot of shading, and yet he still manages to reduce everything true to like the form with like simple line work, just rotoscoping everything. I mean, it's like tracing it, but still,
it was like the least time consuming way of achieving that I think possible.
And I think
he
did
pumped that
trace
stuff out fast.
think he traced it at like 24 frames a second or something like that, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
which is a lot higher
24.
than normal.
I know that's what Akira did, and that's why Akira is like so like next level looking.
Yeah, Arcane's 30, which makes it even smoother. But yeah,
I am waiting to hear back from Steve Olaf, who worked on Akira. He did the colors and worked on the animation for Akira. So I'm waiting
I
to hear
still
back.
haven't seen that one.
Oh my god, that's
It's on the list. You've told me like 3 times now. I know. It's on the list. I got like 50 things to watch.
Cannoli, thanks for joining us, bro.
Hey,
and people go check out his channel. Awesome channel. So this guy's getting heavily stimulated by the conversation. The kind of like flirtatious sex haikus that they're kind of going with here. And then he just starts going to town on himself. He's just like pleasuring himself.
It doesn't last very long.
No, which
I mean, he hasn't gotten a boner in a long time.
Yeah, that's probably why. I mean,
and then she gets an applause because you didn't even have to touch him, and he's a happy camper. He's probably passed out.
Yeah, she's a Mary Sue of the sex trade.
So like again, they mentioned the prostitute mentions, oh, he has to be alone, thank goodness. And then Akemi's like, no, I'll take it. And this is where you see Akemi take the sake, and she starts pouring the elixir in to drug Mizu, and they start having the conversation. Like she presents it, and then Mizu's just like, I don't drink, but then she mentions, have a sip, you really relax you. And like Mizu kind of picks up like this is the thing I was mentioning earlier. Like Mizu's really good at reading mannerisms and tones and everything.
Yeah, she also recognizes her though and knows who she is because like she spent a couple days with Taigen, so that had to have
plays along with it. She's very good at like playing along with it, trying to get more information out of people, right?
Yeah,
see what their actual plan is for them. Like,
yeah, it's almost an extension of like the fighting style where you do minimal movements, so you don't give away like your stance or like your fighting style or like your intention to your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
She's extending that into like the conversational realm, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's also makes her a bit stoic, which is nice.
And then they're just like constantly, maybe just a sip. And then Mizu's like, we'll have some with me. And they're both like, posturing here, kind of
waiting
like,
for the other.
First. Yeah. And then she, like, Mizu just cranks it up a notch of, mentioning Taigen, like, too bad I had to kill him. And like, you see,
I cut off his man bun.
Yeah, and then you see Akemi attack. This part, the lady's like, "Oh wow, she's really good," because just like loud, rough. It sounds like loud, rough sex.
Yeah.
Mommy
and Daddy are wrestling again.
Yeah. Mizu's like basically, manhandling Akemi because Akemi's not a challenge to Mizu. And then Ringo comes in and says, you got the girl.
I love that. It's like, you got a girl. How does that work?
Yeah. But I go back to the birds because they don't need to add all the birds in every room, but they do. Like, it's like almost like a nest in this room. If you notice, like all the twigs and everything surrounding it, it's a nest. And it alludes to something else that's happening later on in this episode, which we're going to get to right away. Like the nest, the birds, her capturing Akemi, and tying her up, and having Ringo watch her. This is funny too. Like, what do you want me to do with her? Well, you're an apprentice. What do you think you're going to do with her? You're going to kill her if she moves. You keep your eyes on her, and Ringo starts staring at her. This is that Shrek and Donkey part, and he's staring at her, and he's like, don't look at me, and he's just like, oh,
mean mugging.
Yeah. So now we get to the part where Mizu's like plotting her assassination here, and trying to get into the house. She takes off all the weights on her ankles and her wrists, and placed them in this back alley here, and then she climbs up, and there they are there behind this barrel, and climbs up, gets to the top, and then again we get more smoke. So there's a lot of smoke, a lot of birds throughout this episode. The incense, the candles. That's why in the beginning I thought possibly smoke, but I like your take there, amateur, where you're talking about the pink lights in the background.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, so we're getting the you see what's her name? Canuyo?
Kenobi.
Hold on. Kineo.
Kinyo.
Kinyo.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, and then we get to this part where Mizu's climbing up, and again you're seeing more smoke, but she gets to the point where she's sneaking around. That's all dark. She's climbing through. It's almost like a video game how you got to climb up and get through, get to the top.
Yeah, it's like Beverly Hills Ninja, but it works.
Yeah, yeah. Then she's on the top in the rafters here, and then there's a part here I want to get to where she's climbing around. This part right here,
With the pigeon
with the bird
or whatever it is. I'm not a bird person.
Yeah,
Probably
I
a
think
pigeon.
I think it's probably a pigeon, where the pigeon makes a noise and wants to fly away, and she strikes it with her knife.
Yeah, very
kills
very
it.
symbolic.
Yes, going
'Cause
back to the room with the nest.
Yeah, all of those
Yeah.
bird motifs. The whole idea
Yes.
that she's going to like mercy kill this like captive who's like
Mhm.
actually like an innocent person, and she wants to like let her fly away or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Lots of symbolism packed in there.
Yes, and then of course the nest is there, and she kind of puts the bird with the chicks, right here, and she realizes like
Whoopsie.
what she had to do. It had to be done, and like you said, symbolism, because what comes next is
Yeah,
this guy gets a blow dart right to the throat, to the neck. He's down to the ground. She gets in with Kinyu, and she starts signing like it's safe. Come with me, it's safe.
Just
And
in the smoky room.
yes,
All
a smoky
the
room.
incense cones.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to leave with her, and then she reaches her hand out, like, "Come with me, it's safe."
yeah.
And she starts to hold her, and I wasn't expecting this. I really wasn't expecting
I
it.
was, which I think is
Really?
interesting.
I thought we were
Wow.
gonna get the steal the girl, defy the orders, become a lesbian. That's what I
That's-
thought we were
that's
gonna
what I
get.
thought.
I was waiting for the neck crack, man. I could
I thought
feel it
we were-
coming. The way
Really?
her hand is there,
Wow.
I knew it was coming. I don't know why, but
Wow, good on you.
I
thought
did.
we were
I
gonna
would-
get the layman gay.
it's just
So
how
yeah,
I
that's-
would have wrote it. Honestly, that's probably how I would have ended it. Because it's
I
the
also-
dark. It's nice and dark. It's not gory. You're
Yeah.
not mutilating the body or anything.
Oh, it's
Yeah, but
you
also
can
I'm
make
glad
it
that
look
she
like
didn't
an
do that,
accident.
'cause it wouldn't have made any sense if she did, take her or save her or rescue her or whatever. That would have been
No, that would have
why?
been silly. Yeah, that would have
Why
been
are we
silly.
doing
that's
this?
that's been done to death. Like it's.
I thought it was gonna go there. I was like, it better not go where I'm thinking it's going. I remember
Well,
thinking
that's-
that for this episode.
I was thinking when I saw this, I originally thought, oh, here we go, another Ripley with the girl in Aliens.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this trope is done so many times. Like, it's just like, are we going to do this? And then snap. I'm just like, really? You're gonna we're actually doing that? I'm like, wow,
Right.
good
Yeah,
on
she
you.
wants she wants the Baija.
Yeah,
Wants that
Hey, man,
sweet
what-
Baija info.
Yeah, what they've done in this series up to this point, I didn't doubt it at all, not for a second. I was like, yeah, they'll go there. They'll definitely go there. They've already gone to much darker places.
Yeah.
wow. So yeah, she makes it look like it's a scene where the guard kills Kinyu, and then she leaves. She's putting all her weights back on. Then a boy kind of sees her. She tells the boy that there's a fight between two people. Go get
She
the
Which is
resists
guards.
the
dumb.
urge. She resists the urge
dumb.
to kill that little boy, and she's like, no,
Yeah,
I should just spare him and tell him go
Well,
get help.
we do get the first moment where we see Mizu showing some kind of emotion other than anger or like
Mm-hmm.
resentment, which is kind of cool. You know, we get that little bit like this is affecting her. This affected her. You know, we
Yes.
get the little setup of it with the bird, and she's like feels kind of bad, maybe bad about what she's gonna do, or you know, feels bad for the little birds. But here we actually see her like she's about to cry. You know, like this is going to be something that she takes with her, and like as she progresses further through her story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, she gets interrupted like every other time.
And then yeah, she's back to being stoic and cold, and lets Madame Kaji know that it's done. And did she sign back? And she said she knew. She knew.
She understood. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She understood, and she gives her the map to Abijah's castle, how to get inside. She talks about how you got to go like 100 yards, like towards the tide line,
Yeah. Wait for low
and
tide and all that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that this is the video game side quest to get like to the next level or whatever, but it works better in a show. I mean, when you're
Yeah.
in a movie with 2-hour run times, you shouldn't
Oh, in a
really.
movie, it's total
Yeah.
cop out, lame shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
With shows, it's
padding.
like, yeah, it's totally normal to have shows that are like a total side quest episode that are kind of just a little stepping stone to the all arcing plot.
Yeah, because it doesn't tie super heavily into the A plot, but at the same time, you do get like we get that little piece of symbolism with the bird and all that, which is great, and then we get the emotional response from the main character who's basically been a block of wood up until this point, which is nice. You know, we get to see a lot of the characters use their abilities outside of fighting or like at all. You know, we finally see Akemi actually, using her intelligence and her education and her upbringing to her advantage. Like it does a lot of good things, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's a side quest. It does very little to forward the main plot. It does very little to get our character to the main goal. But because we get so many little tidbits with it, it feels like a solid episode, even though it is, a setup for the next episode, which is much stronger in my opinion. It's probably the best episode.
Episode 5's
Yeah.
like, it's legit.
Yeah, both
Episode 5's
4 and
killer.
5 are kind of standalones.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, 5 is all the exposition. It's like all the questions you have are like answered mostly in part 5.
And like,
Yeah.
we take it for granted too. Like a lot of great shows from like back in the day. I would say probably like pre Breaking Bad. It was very common for like one episode to the next. Like there was no through line story. It was just all episodic. Like I remember going back and watching Next Generation. And it was like you'd get into some of these crazy concepts, and then the next episode it was like, nope, that never happened. We're gonna do this now, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when shows like this come out, way harder to write that way.
It is because you have to come up with something completely fresh every week.
It's like shit.
But like,
yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about this show is you get to see the character development. You understand the characters. You're invested in the story. Nothing's wasted in this story.
Yeah.
When you're when you're talking about those episodic episodes, like the characters change so much. They do such random acts, or it just kind of throws you off. You're like, this is just to turn off my brain and just watch it. It's entertainment.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
It can be done well. Like you can do some pretty interesting stuff with that, but like not every episode is going to be as good as the other. But it kind of gets held together because you want to watch these characters go on like zany adventures. Whereas this show, it's like they're not spoon feeding you anything. Like very few of these characters are even that likable, right? Like is Mizu really that likable? She's likable enough that you'll follow her on this journey, but like there's not like other than the flashbacks to her upbringing and the whole thing with the sword master, like there's not a heck of a lot that's connecting you with that character versus if you go back to like Picard or like Stargate SG-1 or like what's another really good episodic show, like you're there to watch these characters, right? Because there's lots to like about them. They have certain types of personalities and they're funny or they're entertaining, like heaven forbid Friends, like you know, you're gonna follow Chandler no matter how shit the story is because he's funny, you know, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe that's a bad
Yeah.
example. No, The Office, Michael Scott, that's a better example.
Yeah.
That show kind of has a through line though, but you know what I mean.
This episode also throws out some killer lines in this episode. Like the under your mask, you're not the killer you pretend to be. Like it just everything's heavy. Like everything has weight to it. Like the dialogue, the scenes, and we've said this numerous times. Like there's no fillers. Like, even though this episode kind of feels like it's a side quest filler episode, but it has a lot that adds to the series. Like it just it's weird how they can just do that. Like in the Arcane, there's spots where there's some filler here and there, but it's very minimal.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal. This one has no filler. Like everything has meaning. Everything alludes to something.
Arcane's kind of funny because there's like an A and B plot, and the A plot is like 10 out of 10, and then the B plot's like 6 out of 10. It's just like, can we not talk about these people? I want to go back to the other shit that's like way more interesting.
Yeah.
But this show has a very defined A plot. So, and everything else outside of that is very much just like, you know, little tacked on side quests instead of having two complete structures. Because it's now combined, right? Like Akemi and Mizu have met, and now it's become one story, at least for the next couple episodes. And then it splits off again. But
so this episode ends with the 1,000 claws, wanting revenge for the death of what's that character, Kinyu.
Yeah.
And again, you see like this work that the artistic work on Hamada is like the lines, the freckles, the weather beaten.
He's got yellow eyes like a tiger.
Yeah. So
I mean, assuming every one of these guys has 4 claws on each hand, 25 guys, it's not 1,000 claws. I'm sorry. It's nowhere near 1,000.
Yeah, well, they got to embellish, right?
Yeah, it's like the crazy 88. It's like, was there really 88 of them? No.
And that's the end of that episode. So yeah.
Good stuff.
Great stuff. Episode 5 for me is where it really takes off, and then watching again tonight, watching episode 4, I was just like, oh damn, I forgot about some of these scenes. That adds a lot of to this series. And
on rewatching, there's a lot of setups in this episode.
Yeah. Some great lines, but like you said, even though some of the better lines are all about how like men are horny and weak-willed and shit, you know, whatever. Some of the good ones, like when he goes into the brothel for the first time and the incense burn away. I mean, they're there for at least like about an hour. Like that's usually about how long incense sticks last.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like he says they're just waiting for Madame Kaji, and just this idea that like, these men are easily duped because of their desires and stuff. She thinks that she has some kind of strong men are weak, you know, because like they could be easily duped with just like waving some women in their face, and she's different.
Which is pretty true. Go look at OnlyFans earnings.
Yeah. But also it's like Madame Kaji and some of these other people say, it's like, are you even living? You know, like, what are you doing? You know, like you got nothing to live for basically except revenge. It's not a good way to go about things.
Yeah, it's not good for my brothel business.
That's what
yeah. So your general thoughts on this episode there, gentlemen?
Well, like I said, I talked to you I watched 4 episodes, one sitting, and then I hit you up and I was like, I don't know, man. Seems like I said, I was like, so far it's the best woke show ever. It's like the best like show that wants to like kill white dudes for being white dudes I've ever seen. You know?
Yeah.
First time that this kind of messaging has been done in a compelling way. But then episode 5, like kind of like I said, just pivoted hard the other direction, because like I had ideas of where this was going, and I'm glad it subverted my expectations.
God, that almost seems like a bad phrase now.
I mean,
Jeez.
it is, but it's funny when you say it as a compliment nowadays. You're like, oh,
Yeah, but like back in time, you go to like when the Red Wedding dropped or whatever.
all
It
right.
was great. Yeah, that was a good
Subverted my
thing
expectations. Yeah.
because that worked. But yeah, don't have to talk
Subverted my
about that.
expectations it's like a bullshit phrase. It's like normally what you'd say is like, oh yeah, the ending, shock you, it'll surprise you, it'll wow you. Subvert your expectations is like, look, you're expecting it to be good. Don't. That's kind of what that's what that means,
Yeah, not the best way to go about
You're
it.
expecting this $10 for this ticket to go far. It won't. You're gonna feel like you could have spent this money on something else.
Amateur, what are your thoughts there, dude?
Well, I do think there are some very good parts in this episode, like Abijah Fowler doing his monologue or like his bargain with God is like very peak writing for me. But yeah, like when you're looking at like the overall story, it's definitely the weaker of the episodes because like, yeah, things do happen, but at the same time, very little happens. Like if you compare it to like the first two episodes, it's like, yeah, nothing happens.
Yeah. It's just like
Like
it's typical around. Yeah, it's typical around the middle of the season to do like a kind of like a breather episode, really.
Yeah, well, you're kind of in your act 2 now. Like everything's been established. You don't really want to get to the meat and potatoes right away. Right. You know, like this happens in films too, but it's definitely worse in TV shows. Like even with really good TV series, you know, once you get into your act 2, first season act 2, like things slow down quite a bit. But yeah, like there's great parts, but it doesn't really move the main plot along. So it's a bit forgettable in that way, but like, you know, the whole dark place we go to with Mizu when she does the little assassination bit and we see her, you know, pick up a bit of trauma from that. Like all of that's very meaningful, but yeah, I would say this is probably the weakest episode of the series. Still a strong piece of entertainment as far as TV shows on Netflix goes, but you know, it definitely doesn't stack. It definitely doesn't stack up to the episodes that come after, especially the next one, which is just bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be best to, if you watch this in 2 settings, to stop after episode 3 or after episode 5.
I always recommend watching things in 3 equal segments when it comes to shows.
What do you do when there's only 8 episodes?
Well, shit.
Check and mate.
Checkmate. Save the last 4, I guess. I don't know.
You watch you watch 2 episodes plus like a third of 1 episode or something.
Is there 8? I thought there was 9.
There's 8. Unless that'd be funny.
Yeah, there is 8. There is 8.
That'd be funny if I didn't even see the season finale this whole time. There was like a 9th episode I never saw. I'm like, oh my god, I watch that right now.
Holy shit, they're in London. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Dr. Jekyll and Blue Eye Samurai fighting Dracula. That's what I'm talking
about. Yes,
Let's
please.
Get silly.
Yes, yes.
I like how this show is very grounded in reality, and it still seems very like outlandish and almost like sci-fi fantasy-ish.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It seems everything's very plausible in reality to some degree.
Yeah, it's trying very hard to suspend disbelief, but like it does, you know, like it is a cartoon. We're going to do cartoon things because why else would you do a cartoon? I almost hate saying the word cartoon because it's almost belittles what animation. It's trying to do. Yeah, animation. Yeah. There you go.
Well, you could say that after episode 2 when the 4 fangs, when she lands on one hand on the rock and everything.
That's exactly.
It's very, you know, cartoonish, very exaggerated. No one can ever do that. But I mean, that's what we want to see is like that. Like you don't go to Fast and Furious to watch guys in cars just drive. You're going to see them do stupid shit and vehicles that never can have. Yeah. You're going to see stuff that you can never actually do. Like,
how much horsepower does it take to get to orbit?
Yeah. Like I'm going to drive off a cliff and have it hook in the bumper. Then I'm going to swing around. I'm going to do a U-turn by flying off a cliff with a wired crane, you know.
Yeah, like I'm not the biggest fan of Fast and Furious, but God bless the Fast and the Furious and everyone who watches that. I'm so happy for them.
My favorite one is part
just-
5, I think, or no, 4, where Fast and Furious, where they all come back for the first time, and it's there's the part where Vin Diesel finds out that Paul Walker is sleeping with Vin Diesel's sister, or Broken
that's the
Heart.
first one, isn't it?
No. This is like one of the sequels. I think it's part 4, but like he finds out that he was like, I don't know, did her dirty or something. So Vin Diesel proceeds to pummel the living hell out of Paul Walker, like punch him in the face like 8 times or something. And then the next scene, like he's back at the FBI, doing his FBI thing, and he has like a little cut on his lip and a little like eyeshadow. His face should be like all swollen and disfigured, and oh man, it's so funny.
I gotta say, the first Fast and the Furious movie really gave me the wrong impression of what nitrous oxide does in reality to an engine. And it's like, I was expecting like tunnel vision, and what I got was like a slightly more pissed off sounding engine.
Like, you didn't install it right, bro. I'm one of the most funny cringe moments of well, not of my life, of someone else's life, but my guitar player, he had a roommate, and one day we were just goofing off at his house after practicing there, and he's just like talking about Fast and the Furious and how like he loves that movie. He's like, dude, let's watch it right now. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. We put it on.
Didn't age well.
The guy's not only did it not age well, but the guy is like quoting the whole movie, like reciting the film, like line. He knows the whole movie. Now, there's a couple movies where I know the whole movie. Ace Ventura 2, From Dusk Till Dawn, maybe Starship Troopers, RoboCop for sure. But Fast and the Furious, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a stretch. Like, I could do Return of the King.
I'm not a Fast and Furious fan, so I mean,
I like the first one as a kid.
Yeah, the first one's the first one. Like it's like Rambo, right? The first one was great, and then everything else is kind of like stupid. I did enjoy Tokyo Drift because it was a totally different movie.
I keep hearing that's the best one.
I've never seen it.
That's
everyone tells me to see it. I've never seen it.
Same.
I like
I'm in
that
the same
one.
boat. Everyone's like, "Oh, dude, you should watch." It's like, Fast and Furious is stupid." It's like, "Oh, you should watch part 2, Tokyo Drift," or no, I guess it's part 3. Sorry,
part 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget about Too Fast, Too Furious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not all about that. That's the other reason why I hate Fast and Furious is their penchant for their ridiculous sequel titles.
Yeah, it's like taking Friday the 13th to a whole new level.
Yeah, it's a trope fest.
I can't wait until the sequel's just like, Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, kind of wrapping this up. You guys want to talk about what you got planned for the rest of the week, going into next week? Where you're going to be at? What streams you're going to be on? What's your plans? I'll start with you, Amateur.
Well, thankfully, I got nothing coming up because I need time to work on my videos, and
Nice.
I haven't had a lot of that recently. I keep promising, it's going to be out this week. No, it's going to be out this week, but
same. We're on.
I think I might actually get it out by the end of this weekend because I don't have a heck of a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm back on here for episode 5 next week, which I'm super pumped about because we got
Michael Bancroft joining us.
Michael Bancroft. Sorry, I couldn't think of his last name.
Yes.
Yeah.
That should be pretty
Benzo,
exciting.
if you're down, you're welcome to join us.
Absolutely.
All right.
4.
Awesome.
It's a cool episode. Probably be a 3-hour stream.
Yeah, it's a heavy episode. Heavy episode.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got on, just to get the video out, which I'm looking forward to. Obviously.
It's just the Blue Eye Samurai. Simple. I think it's 12 minutes now. Just, trying to not give too many spoilers, but sort of like more or less beg people without begging them to watch it. But
attaboy.
Yeah, my super ulterior motive is that I need to release some content so that I can actually get monetized on YouTube. Because turns out you need to make videos. So
well, what you can start doing is I'm gonna probably start pivoting to like random musings. Just go like record myself with my morning. In the morning I wake up, have some coffee, smoke a bowl, listen to some news, and I get some thoughts in my head.
There you go.
And it seems like most of these channels that really balloon, they do something similar where it's like you just vent monologue in front of a camera and edit it a little bit, call it a video.
Well, I don't have the charisma to pull that off, but all the
you
power
lie.
to you.
You
I'm
lie.
gonna
You
make
do. You do.
I'm gonna make some shorts. I think after that I get the samurai video out, I'm gonna
Are
start
you guys watching
working on
Gord's meme
arcane.
channel?
Sorry, which channel?
Are you watching Gord's meme channel? Gord
No.
King. Oh,
Gord
No,
King.
I haven't.
Okay.
Gord King's
No,
meme channel is pretty fucking funny, dude.
Is it?
They're all
Okay.
short. They're all like 30-second videos, basically, 2-minute
Right
videos.
on.
But yeah, I need to do stuff like that, like just little
Yeah.
jokes, little joke here and there.
No, I'm
Lighten it
gonna
up.
do some homework. I'm gonna figure out how to make shorts because I have to actually learn how to make a short.
Oh, you're talking about
But,
YouTube Shorts. Oh, it's
yeah,
a nightmare.
YouTube Shorts.
You need to do
And
it on
then
the phone.
oh, I know it's a nightmare. I'm
so much
I'm
easier
gonna
on your
figure it
phone.
out.
I hate it how they design it to be made on the phone. It's like, why?
Yeah, I
that
hate it
shit's
too.
lame. But I'm gonna figure out how to make those. I'm gonna do some research to figure out like what to talk about and at what time. You know, because certain things blow up. Because like you talk to Zax and he's like, man, if you just make a Band of Brothers clip, you don't even have to have like an opinion. It'll just get like 1 million views, and it's like, okay, I need to figure out how to find those little opportunities and start pulling people into my channel. But yeah, after this next video, I'm gonna pivot towards working on shorts for a little bit and see how that goes for me, because that'll get me monetized, which would be nice.
Hallelujah.
Interesting.
I'm only expecting to make a few cents, but you know, it's a start.
It's a start.
It's a few cents
Enzo,
you can put towards your booze. Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of stuff coming up now. Let's see. I guess Sunday we're doing trivia on Lance's channel.
yes,
It's gonna be gnarly. I'm ready. I'm punching the concrete every day, you know. And then Monday is gonna be a busy day because first Lance and Uninspired Reviewer are doing that Napoleon review for Martin Weir's Napoleon movie, the Danny DeVito one from Get Shorty.
okay.
So they're doing a fake review for a fake movie, but I am helping behind the scenes, making a bunch of stills from this fake movie for them. So that's funny. And then I'm going to also Monday be on Canoli's channel, talk about Aquaman, which I still haven't seen. So I'll be watching that for the first time before I talk about it. So I'll probably have some opinions. And then we'll probably stream on my channel Monday after that, after party. Tales from the Dork Side. But then Wednesday, I got Godzilla versus King Kong versus Godzilla, the 1962. We watch that. That'll probably be edited. Highlights only. The overlay, old school style. Me and Blue Collar Loser watched that today, actually. And then that's going to be all building up in anticipation for our big Christmas Godzilla stream. I've been watching all these movies. I think I've watched 10 so far.
Nice.
So they're very fun,
man.
I've been watching them in random order, which I don't really recommend, but I've seen them all before. So, but the all-encompassing story arc between the 35 movies is insanity. When you go over it beat by beat, it's so wackadoo. I love it.
Nice,
awesome.
So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of fun stuff.
I will see you Sunday, sir. I'll be on the
Rock.
The trivia, so I'll be there as well. Monday I will be on Pre-Kings. Tuesday, yes, nice. I'll be on the Pre-Kings. I'm always on Pre-Kings with Matt Barr. Go check out. Check that out. Yes. And after that, Tuesday I will have Vex on here. Tuesday, she'll be in the hot seat doing an interview with her.
Sweet. Nice.
Wednesday, I am free. I'm going to have nothing. I'll probably be doing some editing, and then getting my videos, getting them ready. And then Thursday, we'll be back doing episode 5 with Michael Bancroft and these two great chaps with me here.
Hell yeah!
So I'm looking forward to that. So
well, I'm also working on my dumb Renfield video and also trying to record as many We Watches as possible. So if you guys ever want to watch anything in a Discord theater and you got some time, let me know.
Absolutely.
I will. I don't think I'll have a lot coming up for the next little bit, but if I do, I'll be in your DM.
To everyone that's watched the series, everyone that's been watching us do these reviews, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. I think it's I love this series. I think it's a great series. I think it's the best thing since Arcane. It's been one of the top 5 movies or shows that I've seen in the last 5 years, if not more. It's up there with Everything Everywhere at Once, Arcane, and maybe a couple others. But I'm really enjoying this. So I want to thank these two guys for copping on. Please go check out their channels, check out their videos. The descriptions are below. And thank you so much for following and liking the show. And please subscribe. I'm only five or six away from 600. I'd love to get there by Christmas. So everyone, please take care. We'll see you next week. Adios.
Hell
Stay
yeah,
classy,
thanks.
folks.